Story 1. I'm a 21-year-old female. My parents divorced when I was 10. Caught sperm donor banging his mistress, now wife, in my parents' bed. My mother ended up miscarrying and she was heavily pregnant. Sperm donor announced mistress was pregnant and that he loved her. Parents divorced. Mother went through a depressive episode. I almost lost her. I managed to survive through the court-ordered visitations. Had no relationship with mistress turned wife and half-sister. I finally moved to another country when I was 15. Mother married my wonderful stepfather and had my 2 little brothers. I stopped all contact with sperm donor once I moved to the new country. I'm 21 now and life is finally good after years of pain and hurt. Well, last year, half-sister got diagnosed with late-stage leukemia. She passed away on the morning of my 21st birthday. I didn't feel affected in any way, and although I felt sad that she passed away, it was like some distant relative that I never talked to passing away. I went ahead with my 21st birthday party and celebrated with friends and family. Had a great time. Because of half-sister's passing, I decided not to put up the pictures on social media. Someone posted those pictures and mistress turned wife came across them. She said a lot of hurtful things about me and my mom on Facebook and also accused me of celebrating her daughter's death. She ended her rant by wishing death upon me. Well, I'm not proud of this, but I went nuclear. I exposed sperm donor and mistress turned wife had listed down all the hurtful things they did to me back when I was a kid. I said that although half-sister's passing was sad, I didn't consider her my sister and that I wasn't affected by her death. And therefore, there was nothing wrong with me celebrating my birthday. I finally ended my post by disowning my father and said that he was dead to me. I thought I made myself clear when I said that, but apparently, sperm donor doesn't take no for an answer. He tried calling me back when the entire shit show went down, but I refused to talk to him. Now it has been 2 weeks since it all went down, and things returned to normal in my life, when suddenly, out of the blue, sperm donor showed up to my home last night wanting to talk to me. I have no idea how he got our address. My mother wasn't home. I was there with my stepfather and brothers. Well, he started crying, asking my stepdad to convince me to come downstairs to meet him. I refused. He continued with his bullshit for 3 hours, crying, shouting, begging. Finally, my stepfather threatened to call the police and he left. My mother got home today morning and is telling me to meet him. He is here in this country for a week and according to my mother, he just wants to see me once before he returns. I don't want to see his face ever again in my life. I was finally happy. I don't want to deal with his toxic presence, but my mother is insisting I talk to him once. I'm at my wit's end. Please give me some advice. What should I do? Now for some comments. At first glance, it seems like he's trying to fill the place of your now deceased half-sister with you. He needs therapy and also to respect your wishes of not meeting him, unless you choose to reach out voluntarily. I don't know why your mom is so insistent. Maybe she feels some weird form of empathy for your father. You're 21. It's your decision. You don't have to do it if you don't want to. Right now, he's probably completely lost because he has lost his other daughter and probably desperate to have a relationship with you to keep having a descendant. It's sad for him, extremely sad. But at the same time, he's had years to apologize and try to fix things with you, and he didn't. Story 2. I, 33 female, got pregnant 10 months ago with my daughter. My wife and I were beyond excited. After we announced it, my sister-in-law started to kinda buddy up to me. I thought she was just being supportive, but it got weirder as time went on. Here's a bit on my sister-in-law. She's 36, married to my wife's brother. She's had lots of miscarriages due to her weight, is almost infertile, and has been trying to get pregnant since she was 30. Husband wants to adopt, try IVF, but she refuses. It started to get strange when she tried to come to all my doctor's appointments. We live close by each other and she said I would need the support during my pregnancy. I decided because, obviously, my wife will be coming with me and I didn't need sister-in-law there. I shrugged these off as just her trying to get involved, and I sympathized with her effort to get pregnant. She kept trying to shove herself into my pregnancy though. She would show up at my house with names all picked out or talk about how maybe she could help deliver the baby or just try and touch my belly at every family gathering. At this point, both brother-in-law and my wife stepped in and asked her to stop. She burst into tears, hurt because she was just being supportive and kind. She laid low for a while, besides doing the odd small weird things here and there. In my last few weeks before the birth, however, she became an emotional wreck, yelling at us, at brother-in-law, at my parents and parents-in-law, begging us to let her adopt our baby. We were fed up and just cut her off until after I gave birth, which she luckily didn't try and show up for. A month we are in the hospital after my daughter was having trouble breathing. It was a super stressful thing, so my in-laws came to be there with us. It wasn't until sister-in-law basically told us that if I was a parent, I wouldn't let my child get this sick and possibly die. And I snapped. I told her that it wasn't her goddamn child. No matter how hard she tried to get involved, she is not her mother and she never will be. So if she wants a child that bad, she could find a way to get her own. She proceeded to have a full mental breakdown right in the middle of the hospital, causing her to pass out. All my in-laws and my wife are on my side, saying she was out of line and I was just stressed. But I feel they aren't being totally honest. I also feel guilty, but haven't apologized for what I said yet. So, am I the a-hole for yelling at my sister-in-law and causing a mental breakdown? Now for some comments. Not the a-hole. She needs to seek mental help. I understand she's struggling to have her own child, but she's hyper-focused on yours, and that isn't healthy. I have this image of her trying to literally steal your baby. You're a stressed out and worried new mom with a sick child. She went way too far with what she said. She deserved to be told off. OP, not the a-hole. I feel for your sister-in-law. I really do. And I believe you when you say you try to understand, but her mental health is spiraling. There are other options other than a natural pregnancy, but if she shuts down all of those choices, then I don't know what else you or the family can do other than keep her away for the time being. Story 3. My brother has a girlfriend, and she is pregnant with his child. In the last 6 months since he lost his job, which was not his fault, he has refused to take or find another, actively turned down jobs, and only applied for jobs he is in no way qualified for. She is going to have a baby in the next few months, and she works a job right now that has no maternity leave and no paid time off, and her boss is sympathetic to her situation, but there is little that can be done. She will have a job waiting for her should she want it, but there will be no income for however long she is out of work after having the kid. She called me in a panic a few days ago because she found out they were at threat of losing their apartment. He has been spending money on things other than bills and necessities, and so all the extra hours she has been picking up are for nothing. She only found out because she found a letter threatening eviction if they didn't pay everything that was owed in back rent. He had absolutely no intention of telling her. I talked to my husband, and we have the room in our current place. We offered to let her stay here for however long they need, but my brother is not welcome to stay here with her. My whole family has called me an asshole or some variation since they found out about it. My husband even said it might be a little harsh, but I have watched him absolutely obliterate his life for months. I have given him money for his bills and to take care of him and his girlfriend, and he has squandered it. He has had more than enough opportunities to step up and get a job, but he has turned every one of them down. He has bragged about what a good house husband he is, and he took advantage of her trust in him and didn't tell her how bad they were actually struggling. He could have a job, but refused. He could have been honest, but he lied. I don't blame her for their situation, and she has no savings to speak of for deposits on other place to live. And it would be extremely unlikely that a company who offers maternity leave and paid time off would hire someone who is inside of 90 days from delivery. I have since offered that he can stay here once he gets a job and a paycheck. He's a big boy, over 30 years old. He can find a job and a place to stay for the next month or so until he gets a paycheck. Am I the a-hole? Update. In the last few hours, I've talked to my husband, my brother, his girlfriend, and have reached out to various family members. So here are the facts for now. Girlfriend is going to move in over the next few days. She is here now, and we are going to go with her to the apartment to get her things. She is taking a break from her relationship with my brother for the time being. She doesn't want to, but she hopes that it will further convince him to get his shit together for their child. A few people suggested charging her rent and setting it aside so she has a nice little nest egg for when she is able to get her own place, which I like the idea of. We came up with a number that will still let her set aside money for savings, so I think we are good there. I had at least one person say I was the asshole for forcing my husband to live with a pregnant lady. Seems like they didn't read what I wrote. But if anyone else thought I was holding my husband at gunpoint to let her move in, you're wrong. It was actually his idea. He was raised by a single mom, and he was heartbroken that my brother would act that way. We thought about trying to come up with money, but figured that a warm home, company, and extra hands for a little one would be better than throwing money we don't really have at the problem. My brother is extremely upset. I decided after reading a bunch of responses that told me not to trust him moving in, and after discussing it with my husband, that I was just being tender-hearted towards him because he's my brother. He doesn't need me bailing him out of the mess he made. He needs to pick himself up and take care of his business. So no, my brother will not be moving in, even if he gets a job, because you are right. He didn't respect the rental agreement from a total stranger. He isn't going to respect an agreement from his little sister any better. As for my family, people had lots of colorful things to say, most of which gave me a good chuckle. The reason most of them aren't immediately offering him a place to stay is because they are not in the area. They all agree they don't want to give him any more money. Apparently, I wasn't the only one who was lending him some. My mom and older sister are the only people who know the whole story. They were both on the fence and gently said I should consider letting him come so as to not break up their family. The rest of my family has heard less than half the story, and I've been fielding calls and texts for the last 2 days from them. I sent out a mass text to anybody who had felt the need to stick their nose into this, and made it clear that I'm not going to be bullied or guilted into helping him any more than I already have. I will take care of the 2 people who never asked to be placed in this situation, his girlfriend and my nephew. I told them not so kindly to direct any and all comments about the way I'm choosing to offer my assistance to the small birthmark just inside the crack of my right ass cheek. Thanks again for the comments and all the love. I didn't expect praise for taking her in, but it feels nice to hear it from someone other than my husband. Now for some comments. Not the a-hole. That's very nice of you to take the girlfriend in. If he stays at your place, make sure he pays you rent and set a timeline when he should move out. With his laziness, I'm afraid he will try to take advantage of you and your husband and use the baby as excuse so he can live in your house for free as long as he wants. Not the a-hole. He's a grown man acting irresponsibly. It's not your job to bail him out of his mistakes. You have tried to help. If you had given into family pressure and let him stay there, all you're doing is reinforcing the idea that he can do what he wants and someone else will clean up his mess.